There he is. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Dom and Gonz Sports Talk, the show we not only talk about everything Baltimore Ravens of around the NFL, and tonight we are bringing you a 2024 preseason wrap-up. I was buffering right there. Real-life Matrix lag right there, huh? 2024 preseason wrap-up for these Baltimore Ravens. As you know, today was the final game. We didn't get to do any pre-game, post-game for any of the last two due to conflicts. But as you know, we wrapped up the preseason today in Green Bay with a 30-7 loss. So now that's it. No more preseason. We are now on to regular season. The roster is being trimmed down to 53 men in the next few days. So this was the last opportunity for a lot of these young guys to showcase what they got. And I think we've got most of our answers for how this roster is going to pan out. So that's what we're going to break down for you. Who do we think is going to make it? What are some glaring concerns? What are some sure fixes that we've got based on what we saw the last three games? So, yeah, welcome in. We're ready to get started. I'm Gonz. That's Dom. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Can't complain. Glad the preseason is behind us. We are shaping ready for week one. Looking forward to it. Definitely ready to dissect how this preseason has looked for us.
Yeah, and we're going to go through all of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So just wrapping up, starting from just the top of the list, probably the most notable things that we had after, the Falcons game. The first game, the Eagles game. Backup quarterback. I think Josh Johnson has done more than enough to show us that he should be our quarterback number two. I know he had a rough start to the Philadelphia game, but he went out and had a perfect passer rating against the Eagles and then did some pretty decent stuff in the Packers game as well, especially showcasing that highlight where he hit Tylan Wallace in stride for a 48-yard receiving touchdown to give the Ravens a 7-6 lead in the second quarter. So I think he has shored up his spot. I mean, any concerns that we may have had after the first game, aka Mr. Dom over there, I think he's shown us why he should deserve to be the QB2. Now, is he perfect? No, but he has showed us enough consistency, at least out of the guys that we've had, especially over somebody like, for example, Devin Leary, that he deserves the spot. And I think he'll be okay. I think it should be fine, and hopefully we don't have to see him at all unless it's a blowout in the fourth quarter. But I think he played well enough, especially in that Week 2 game against the Falcons, to keep his job.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the main thing we've gotten from our quarterback play this preseason is we just have to pray Lamar stays healthy for all 17 games. So
Well, yeah,
I think that's the main thing.
That's unfair, I think. Not to cut you off real quick. That's unfair. But go ahead.
I know, and I get it. I got love for Josh Johnson. Emory Jones also had a really good game in one of these preseason games. Devin Leary, but like I'm glad you have some faith in Josh Johnson. I respect your faith in Josh Johnson. For me, I don't fully see it. And maybe I'm not giving him enough credit. I mean, again, let's pray we don't have to see him out there. I'm going to hope we don't have to see him out there. But I just don't have that much faith in Josh Johnson. That's just me. I'm sorry to Josh. He'll probably never see this. It's not that you didn't impress me with your performance in some of these games. I'm not going to lie. You did lead a really good drive in, you said in that game against the Eagles, right? But for me, it's just like, dude, can there be some, I'm not asking for all like super consistency, but I did not see a lot of consistency from any of the backup quarterbacks. That's just me. I didn't press the red button. You saved me from pressing the red button, so I didn't press it. But yeah, from the quarterback play that I saw throughout these, and I didn't catch today's game because I had some family affair. Sister starting college, woot woot. But I didn't catch today's game, but I was looking at Twitter just to look at what people were saying. Our backup quarterbacks, they don't get a high grade from me. But I mean, they're backups for a reason, right? They're not going to be starting. But I would have liked to see just a little bit more consistency from our backups. But again, that's just me though.
I mean, I get it, but here's if Lamar goes down in the season and he goes out for the season, 20, 21, or 22, knock on wood. I mean, the season's chalked anyway. I don't care who we got back there. That is our reigning MVP. I don't think that's fair to assess him on that point. So, I mean, that's like the Chiefs losing Mahomes. If you lose Mahomes, they're done. When the Patriots lost when the Patriots had Tom Brady back in the day, when they lost him, they're done. I don't think that's a fair assessment because I feel like the season's chalked anyway if a team loses their franchise quarterback. Now, what I meant when I said Josh Johnson needs to slip in, like if Lamar gets dinged up maybe for a game or two, I feel like Josh Johnson could hold it down just for a little bit because, we'll have our starting team out there. I mean, week 2, Tom, he went 11 for 11.
I'm not arguing that.
You can't get any better.
That. It's just that I'm not going to.
He's pushing the ball down the field. What I really liked about that, he was taking some deep shots. He was taking maybe not some deep shots, but he was pushing the ball down the field. He wasn't just dinking and dunking. And it was an 11 for 11 for about 100-something yards and a touchdown. It was not just an 11 for 11 for 40 yards, like all checkdowns. He was pushing the ball down the field, taking some chances. So, and those were with wide receivers that may never play a game potentially or are roster scruffing at the end of the year. I don't now. Like I said, if he has to take over for this team, yeah, we're probably done. But if he needs to be inserted for a couple games or a game or, for God forbid, I don't even want that. But if he had to, I feel like he could hold it down.
And I respect that,
especially with the
and
starting
I definitely
team.
respect that. I'm not saying that.
But Devin Leary, I respect that.
I can respect Josh Johnson.
I 100% agree with you on.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Respect Josh Johnson. I'm not saying that the one drive he had should be just negated fully because, again, that was a beautiful drive. I'm just saying, and be real with me when I say this, because I want you to be completely honest with me right now. If you could choose right now between having Tyler Huntley as QB2 or Josh Johnson as QB2, who are you taking right now?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously we would take Tyler Huntley. The thing is, Tyler Huntley kind of played his way out of Baltimore because he deserved more money, and obviously we didn't have that.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm happy for him. I want him to succeed. I want him to get his money. But for me, in my standards, like, and I'm not saying Huntley is like, starting like, oh yeah, he's the next guy. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, like, as far as having that, the sense of security, and I think I mentioned this before in another episode, the sense of security that Huntley gave us sometimes. And I'm not saying he would go out there and take over and score 21 in a fourth quarter or something like that. But I'm saying, like, when he was in the game, you felt a little more secure when Lamar was out. You know what I mean? Like, it was like a sense of, okay, like, he might not, like, and excuse my language, well, I'm just not going to use it. He's not going to wet the bed completely. But he's going to, like, try to go out there. He's going to make some plays. And he's going to try to get us in the best position to win. Not saying Josh Johnson can't do that. I'm just saying, as far as, like, the trust level is concerned, I have more trust in Huntley than I did Josh Johnson. And Josh Johnson can definitely earn that trust. I'm not saying he can't. I'm praying that we don't have to see him on the field, God forbid. But at the end of the day, like, for me, other than the 11 out of 11 play drive, like, we didn't see much resemblance of that. And I didn't watch today's game, so you would know better than me. But, like, I would just like to see that and again, God forbid, I don't want this to happen. But I only want to see Josh Johnson when we're up by, like, 40 and we just are ready to take some knees and get into the game. But that's just me, though. I think as far as backup quarterback is concerned, I think it is a partial level of concern. That's just me. But I know we might disagree, but that's just me, though.
That's fine. We can agree to disagree, but I feel like that is probably one of the better things that we have from this preseason because it's been a lot of yikes from some of these positional groups. But I think other than that first game, Josh Johnson has done just fine. We don't need him to be Lamar Jackson. We don't need him to throw for I just think, and we're going to have Derrick Henry for him to hand it off to if he were to play. So I feel like it'll be all right. I don't think we need to be concerned. That concerned. Is he as good as Huntley? No. But let's talk about who we should be concerned about are these other two who have not shown, well, not even other two, other one, our draft pick Devin Leary, who has not looked sharp at all in this preseason. Aside from that one little drive he had in the Eagles game, it has just been rough sailing for him. I mean, today he was really off the mark. 6 for 13, 34 yards, 2 interceptions, and a fumble that was returned for a touchdown. And the Ravens have been trying. I feel like the Ravens have tried to make this guy inserted into the third. They really, really wanted him to succeed, and he's just not doing it. And I really think Emory Jones is the better option. If we were to have 3 quarterbacks on our team, I think Emory Jones is that guy. Devin Leary has just not shown enough for me to be comfortable. So how Dom feels about Josh Johnson, I feel about Devin Leary.
I think
no, I'm just kidding. I know you don't feel that bad. I'm just trolling.
But I think we definitely agree in the sentiment of Devin Leary. I know that
he's really
yikes. He was I think he was a coach pick, according to reports. I know one of the coaches picked him. I was hoping to see a little bit of something from him. He definitely didn't impress too many. I don't know if he makes the 53. I
don't even think he deserves
to.
If they're going to, I mean, Emory Jones showed out in week 2. I mean, he played pretty well. He had his just overall vision and feel of the game just felt better. I mean, he had a nice touchdown to Dayton Wade. And he's got some speed too.
Yeah,
I mean,
think
if you're going to go 3, you give it to him.
I think if we have our 3 quarterbacks, it's going to be Lamar 1, Josh Johnson 2, and Emory Jones 3. I think those are just our guys heading into the regular season.
And another thing, if that really becomes a concern, and let's say Dom's right and Josh Johnson is a total train wreck, there are some people out there they could pick up. Like, example, Ryan Tannehill is a free agent. Very established veteran. I mean, starting quarterback for the Titans since 2019.
A change of game plan. Jeez Louise.
I mean, Derrick Henry and Tannehill on the Ravens together, that'd be crazy. Crazy. But there are options. So that's why I feel okay. Like, when Dom says he doesn't feel that good, I feel okay about it. I mean, and then there's backup plans if needed.
I think when you look at it that way,
you see what I'm saying?
Well, looking at it that way, I completely agree with you. There's no disputing that. Yeah. I'm just saying our current room has issues. Like a lot of.
That's all right. No, we're trying to make Dom look like a villain. That's all right. That's good.
Outside of Lamar, our backup room has issues. And I mean, it's not like every backup room is perfect. And again, we can agree on that.
And Huntley had his struggles too,
right.
guys. Remember,
Huntley has had our struggles, but he also led some game-winning drives. I'm like, we gotta give it to him. You know what I mean? So
he led some game-winning drives, but he never won a playoff game, even though he looked like he was going to.
I'm not gonna lie. We can look at Huntley for that fumble, but we can also look at play calling for that terrible call when you got. Don't send me back. Hold on. Let me move the camera. Let me move the camera up real quick. Okay, I'm back. Don't do that because you know that play call.
All right.
Was
anyway,
it was stupid.
It's all right.
Either way.
Yeah, I remember.
But yeah, I think looking at it from your point of view, though, on a serious note, looking at it from your point of view, and when it comes to the quarterback room, yes, there are pieces in place that we could if we wanted to fill out the room and have more vets in there. There are guys we could add, but I'm saying as far as But speaking on what we've seen in these past preseason games, at least from the 2 I've seen, because again I didn't watch the 3rd one today, unfortunately. But actually probably not unfortunately, because I know we got our butt kicked. But other than with the 2 preseason games I saw, I was impressed with Josh Johnson. I was also disappointed. Emory impressed and disappointed. Leary just mostly disappointed. It's definitely, I didn't see a lot of consistency. I think the main message I'm trying to say is I didn't see a lot of consistency from either of the quarterbacks. And I think.
All right. So what is your comfort? Tell me your level. Is it comfortability on a range of 0 to 10, 0 being the worst, 10 being the best? What is it? Quarterbacks. Yes. You're going to say 3. That's obnoxious, but okay.
Say 4. But
Jesus
Maybe
Christ.
4 or 5.
All right, Dom wants MVP Lamar to be the backup and the quarterback.
I'm not saying that.
6. I'll give him a 6.
Okay, that's fair. I'm not.
Let us know in the comments. Is Dom being a little unfair to Josh Johnson? We'll see.
Don't make me
We'll
out
see.
to be a Josh Johnson hater. I'm not trying to hate Josh Johnson. I like Josh
You
Johnson.
said he's had no consistency. He went 11 for 11. I mean, how much consistency did he want?
Drive. What did he do outside of one drive?
What do you mean one drive? It was a whole half.
Okay.
And that can we talk about the next important point? Why he may have struggled. Also, this offensive line is a mess. I am now convinced. I'm going to press the pink panic button. Okay? That's not the red panic button, that being the worst. I'm going to press the pink panic button. This O-line looks very concerning. And I know, obviously, they don't have Stanley in there, and they don't have Linderbaum. And I know Linderbaum has returned to practice, hasn't he, recently? So that's good. I heard some positive news. I didn't read into it. I just assumed. But they'll be back. Hopefully, they'll be back. Stanley and Linderbaum should be good for week 1. This O-line looks really bad, and maybe we can contribute some of the quarterback struggles to that as well. Because, oh my gosh, against the Eagles game, it was just abysmal. I mean, while the pass blocking has been decent at times in the preseason, the run blocking is non-existent, and that is a yikes. And I am not excited to see what these guys look like against starting NFL defenses. It's just been kind of a concern for me now, and I think I really think this offensive line is going to stumble out of the gate. It's going to be rough riding here for the first few weeks, maybe the first half of the season. I don't think. And if there was one thing that could derail us from winning a championship, it could be the offensive line, because it just looks really. And I know it's preseason, and I know you want to panic. That's why I'm hitting the pink panic button, not the red one. It just looks really bad. That's my opinion. It just looks, just like Dom says that Josh Johnson looks concerning. I think the offensive line looks very concerning, and looks like it. We got Chris Jones week 1. Then next week 2, we got Max Crosby. I know the Raiders aren't good, but it's Max Crosby. Then we got Micah Parsons. I mean, this could get ugly real fast for some of these guys. So I'm a little concerned, and I know and that's all not even touching about what happened in the preseason the joint practice between the Ravens and Packers. I mean, from what I saw and read, the Packers were just dominating. I mean, on both sides of the ball. And it showed in the preseason game. I mean, the Ravens offense was not making many plays. I know I did see that Lamar was hitting some plays against that team. But for the most part, their defense was going crazy, getting lots of pressure on Jackson. And then the offensive line, the defense just couldn't stop them. Jordan Love and that offense was in sync. Romeo Doubs. It's a little bit concerning about some of these depth players, especially on the offensive line. I don't know what your thoughts are, but that's something to keep an eye on, especially through the first half of the year. How much growing? I know we can expect growing pains, but how much growing pains, and will we withstand it? I don't know.
So I do see your concerns, and I also see the concerns on Twitter. I noticed the concerns in the first 2 preseason games, but I will play partial Angels advocate here in some sense. Okay, so this time I'm gonna play Angels advocate here. There were some.
That's fine.
You know what I mean? There were some good plays from some of the offensive linemen that I've at least noticed so far. I will say Rosengard has played very well throughout this preseason. I liked him, just throughout the first 2 games. I didn't see him today. I don't know how he performed today, but at least from the first 2 games, I like what I saw. I know I saw a report from today's game that Falele actually played pretty well. Again, you watched it. I did not. I don't know if.
I actually did not watch all of it. I watched the highlights.
So I did see a report that
I couldn't see the main game.
I did see a report that Falele has played well. I did also see that we lost our center that we drafted. He was carted off the field, unfortunately. So I know that was kind of down bad. But, yeah, I mean, I think offensive line is kind of one of those things that we might have needed to address a little bit more.
And still can.
Yes, there are still guys out there that we can pick up. but I think that is one thing we probably should have addressed a little more. I mean, we trade away Moses, we lose John Simpson, we lose a guard, we lose a starting guard, we lose a starting right tackle who has played pretty much every game and stayed consistent basically every game. Rosengarten could fill in that right tackle slot pretty well, so I'm not really too worried about that. I think the more concern, because we haven't seen Stanley yet. We don't know what Stanley looks like in real game action yet. We have seen Rosengarten, but I'm kind of looking to see who's going to get these starting guard spots, because I feel like they can interchange. I don't know. I know we're looking at Ben Cleveland. I know we're looking at Falele. I mean, I know we have the young man we drafted not this year, but last year, with obviously Linderbaum filling out that center spot. So I feel like we have left tackle, center, and right tackle. I think those three spots are squared away. But I think where we need to focus our concern on is the left guard and the right guard position, because I honestly do not know how that's going to square away. I just don't like the fact that we're playing the Chiefs week 1 Thursday night, because Linderbaum is still, not saying he's in full recovery mode, but I know he's just coming off that injury, and having to go against freaking Chris Jones week 1 is going to be very, very like strenuous on him. But I mean, like you said, like these defensive lines that we're going against, it's no joke. Like you said, Micah Parsons. We also got to play the Giants, who have Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau. I mean,
yeah,
like
I was talking about mainly just mostly at the start of the year.
Yeah, I'm just talking in general.
3 premier guys in the first 3 weeks.
Crosby, Jones, and all these guys. I mean, it's no joke. But I mean,
and then we got Buffalo.
I know, with Vaughn and Rousseau and all those other dudes. I mean, I'm not, like you said, I think we pushed the pink panic button for now. I'm not gonna like square away too much of my concern. But I do agree that one thing is though about the offensive line is who can we fill in those spots with? You know?
You bring up a good point about free agency. We got to get. I think we're gonna have to sign somebody. I really do. I just don't feel like.
I mean, the only offensive lineman, premier offensive lineman, I feel like is out there is David Bakhtiari, and he's a tackle, not a guard. So I mean, he would have to fill in like either left, and I doubt.
I'd have to do my research. I don't.
So I mean, I just don't know where he would fit in with us, and how much he would want, but. I mean, to that point, I mean, I do feel like offensive line could be in concern, but this is more like we're going to see what week 1 looks like. I think this is just a wait.
Do you have your computer out?
I do have it, but it's closed, but I can open it.
Yeah, see if you can find any offensive linemen that are on the block right now, or, on the waiver wire, on the free agency market. See if there's anybody that we know, big names available, because I feel like that's the way to go. I think you just need an insurance policy. That's all. It's I don't know. I'm just concerned. I'm a little concerned. So we'll see. We will see, definitely. Running backs, another big yikes. Nobody has stepped out aside from Owen Wright, who was looking like he was going to take that RB3 spot until today he broke his foot. So who do we use? Ali?
I'm not going to.
That's another thing.
Not to cut you off.
He hasn't done.
Yeah, I mean, not to cut you off. I apologize, but I do like that kid, Collier. I do like that kid. I think he plays relatively decent. To at least for now, until Mitchell.
Squad,
I mean, who else is? I mean, okay. Remember what you said about the quarterbacks, though. There are some free agents out there that we could look to pick up. You know what I mean? I mean, Kareem.
I think. Yeah, I think great idea.
Kareem Hunt is out there. Latavius Murray is out there. Dalvin Cook is out there. You know what I mean? So if we need a third running back, that is we can just throw a 1-year deal out to one of these guys. The funny thing is we've had most of those guys who's still a free agent. You know what I mean? So it's not like they're not used to our system. So if you wanted to pick them up,
bring back Murray. Murray was good for us.
I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind a Hunt. I think those are I think if it comes to them having to sign an RB3, I think my range of one would be one. I wouldn't mind Kareem Hunt. I'm not gonna lie. I think Kareem Hunt's on top of my list as far as a one. Kareem Hunt, Murray, and then Cook. I think those are my top 3, and that's how I would rank them as far as who I would want the most. I think I would want Hunt the most though.
Yeah, and that's fine. I don't care. We need to get somebody because other than that, it's just Justice Hill and Derrick Henry. I don't think any of them, like aside from Owen Wright, has earned that spot. So, yeah, Ali just has not panned out, and he didn't, and they got hurt. I mean, we're just getting a lot of these young guys are just dealing with injuries, and it's just not a pretty thing to say. So. Shoot, man, I'm feeling like we have to sign a veteran for almost all these positions. It's been pretty rough. It's been
Hey
pretty
man,
ugly so
listen,
far.
we're not the only
So
team going through it right now, so I don't feel too bad.
let's
But
talk about it. Let's talk about a position that might be a little bit happier on note, and that's the wide receiver group. As we've got Dayton Wade, who's been looking pretty good, making the most of his opportunities. Had a couple catches. I know he had a couple catches week 1, and then week 2 he had that nice touchdown from Emory Jones on the double move, completely faking out the defense. And that's somebody who we should be looking for because all of a sudden, where's Tez Walker? Like, what is going on with him? I mean, he was supposed to be a round 4 pick. He's been not high, I don't want to say high expectations, but he was supposed to be like that speedster that could take the top off. I mean, he said his favorite type of route was the go ball, and we just haven't seen any attempts of the go ball, let alone hardly seeing him on the field. I mean, what's going on with that? Is he hurt still? I mean, I know he was dealing with something. I don't know what Baltimore's doing there. So are we going to use him this year, or are we going to wait to try to develop him more next year, or what are we doing? Because you know who, trusty old Tylan Wallace is right there. You know he's going to make the team. Another year of preseason where Tylan Wallace is making plays in multiple games. That shouldn't be a surprise. He's been doing that for a few years. And his contributions on special teams obviously makes him a lock for the team yet again this year in 2024. So good for Tylan Wallace. Congrats to him. But yeah, Tez Walker, I don't know. I don't know what we got in him because I don't see him.
yeah, did he have
Do
a
not see him.
catch today?
I think he had one catch, but again, I don't see us even trying to go deep. Maybe they're shelving him until the regular season, but I haven't seen much. And that wide receiver room could get crowded because, you know, we still got Aguilar, Flowers, and Bateman, and then Wallace too. So I don't know. You got to consider Dayton Wade because he has made more of a splash than Walker. I mean, I've seen Wade a lot more, and he's made the most of his opportunities. I haven't seen anything from Tez Walker aside from maybe a catch or two here and there on a short route.
Yeah,
But
I
don't know. Go figure.
Yeah, I just don't think he has like really had. I mean, I know he's been battling an injury or something of that nature. I know we haven't been.
If that's true,
Yeah,
then I would understand.
don't know
Okay.
exactly what the extent of his injury is. I mean, I know he was able to play. I think he played today. But to your point, I mean, we haven't really seen much of what he can do yet, you know. And I mean, the season is right around the corner, you know. So I mean, at this point, we're looking at potential, but I mean, we don't know if we're going to use a roster spot on that potential. You know what I mean? Like, so at this point now, we're kind of like, obviously, Zay, Bateman, Aguilar, like you said, Dayton Wade maybe earns that spot. We signed Russell Gage, you know, to the team, you know. So who knows? Does he earn a spot? I don't know. I don't know how he performed this preseason. You know, so I mean, we have some options, but I mean, I don't know. I think it gets to a point now where it's like, man, like I feel like receiver is just one of those positions that we have just never really like hit the nail on fully. You know what I mean? Like it's just always one of those things for us where it's like, man, we're always looking for obviously Zay, I mean, in year 2, you know, we see what he can do. But I mean, like I just feel like we have not hit. Well, actually, let me not lie again. We got to see what this new Bateman and, you know, Lamar connection looks like a full year of that. But we just don't hit on receivers, and we're kind of Mr. Krabs when it comes to receivers. You know what I mean? Like we're not gonna,
Which is not a surprise.
Yeah, I mean that's
who we
again,
are.
exactly to my point. Like we just it's not what we do. We don't blow a bag on those guys. Like you don't see when the Ayuk talks came up. You know what I mean? I didn't even like bat an eye because I know that's not something we would go for. You know what I mean? Like it's not us because we don't have like what are we like 9? We have $9 million of cap space left. Like, there's no way we're going to, like, even try to pull off a trade. DaCosta hates giving away draft capital, period. You know, like, I'm surprised we gave up that second for Roquan, which I'm glad we did. But it's like, for us, when it comes to receiver, like, man, we are always in the bargain bin. Like, we never go for that fresh, hot new thing that's coming out. You know what I mean? Like, we're always like, oh, man, look at that new sale we got. Like, that's never us. Like, that's always us. You know, like, I pray that, I'm happy that Tylan Wallace is going to make the squad. It's going to be great to have him back. I'm hoping that Dayton Wade makes it. I feel like he's earned it. He's played very, very well this preseason. But other than that, our receiving core, I feel like when you balance it out with Likely and Andrews, you know what I mean? I feel like if you say we have Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar with an Andrews with a Likely, that's a good amount of targets, like reliable targets to have out there on the field with a Derrick Henry in the backfield. But, you know, for us, it's just like, bro, we just gotta fight when it comes to have a receiver on the field, man. Like, it's tough. It's really, really tough for us.
Yeah, it is. But I do feel like we got some depth this year.
Yeah.
The last 2 years have been pretty good at wide receiver regarding depth. Way better in 2019. So they should be fine this year. But you can't get the ball to them if you can't block.
I
sorry,
also, before we move on, I did look into, like, whatever free agents offensive linemen could be left. I'm not going to lie. Not a lot. Not a lot in the free agent market.
We might got to make some trades.
The only
player
that I'm seeing that could be worth the pickup is Bakhtiari. That's about it.
We don't
really need him. We have some decent tackle depth. So, but I don't know, man. I really don't know. I'm not seeing anything here that's making my eye pop.
Well, and you know, some other teams are going to have roster cuts soon, though. So
that's also true. They still got to cut down to 53.
We don't know who's going to be available.
Yeah.
So let's just pump the brakes on that for now. So let's wait till if needed, which is probably likely. We'll see how we do. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
it's going to be a very
but honestly, the more
week in the NFL.
thing,
I'll say that much.
The last thing I want to say before we move on is more concerning: pass blocking, run blocking, the run blocking. The running game is just not done. I know some backs had some decent games. I know Kelly today had 7 carries for 32, which is not bad. But we were getting blown out, so it doesn't. Yeah, of course they're going to let you run. But it's concerning.
The run game is our bread and butter. That's what we are. So if we can't block for the run when Derek is trying to get out there, and and I think we should.
I've seen. Yeah, go finish.
Okay, I was going to say that. I think we should hold off on too much concern on the run, on the run blocking for now, because I feel like, we got to see like the full team, full scheme on how we're going to do it with a Ricard out there on top of, our offensive line. So I'm going to hold off on having concern for that for now. But if it appears to be a concern, at least these first couple of weeks, then we're going to have to really start making some decisions on okay, what are
you talking about run?
Yes, I'm talking about the run blocking.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I'm reserving my concern at least until these first couple of weeks, just to see, how we look with the full offensive line with Ricard, blocking as well, so we can see.
That's what I'm doing too. But instant preview, very concerning. So yeah, that's enough for offense. Tight ends we don't need to talk about because we already know who we got. The top 3, are going to be Kohler, Likely, and Andrews, and then Ricard is the fullback. So that's going to be it. And then, we're going to talk about all this a little bit more. But yeah, defense, good things. I would say the best thing that stands out is Trenton Simpson. He looks like the full package. He's flying to the football. He's making great tackles. He's intercepting passes now. He's just looking, he looks really good. He looks like he can definitely just take the place for Patrick Queen right next to Roquan Smith. So I'm excited for Trenton Simpson. So good for him. I feel like that's the biggest assurance that I've gotten this preseason is knowing that our second middle linebacker is legit and he looks pretty good in these games. Of course, it's just preseason, but in those reps that he's gotten, he's looked very good. So I'm not feeling concerned. I don't have any concerns right now for the linebacker position. They look
Yeah,
good.
yeah, I have no complaints either. I mean, you hit it on the nail with everything you said. I mean, Trenton Simpson looks like the truth. I'm happy to see what he looks like. I told you before, I'm happy to see. I'm going to be very, very thrilled to see what he looks like next to Roquan. That's what I
Right.
want to see the most. I just want to see what Roquan's leadership and how Roquan's leadership will impact him. And I think it's going to do just like it did wonders for Patrick Queen. I think it's going to do wonders for Simpson. I mean, younger, athletic, like we said, he's a speed demon. He flies to the ball. It's going to be very, very interesting to see. I'm happy with how he played in this preseason for sure.
Yeah, agreed. Pass rush, not too many showings. A couple individuals did show out though. Adisa Isaac was doing really well in his week 2 debut against the Falcons until he got hurt. I'm not sure how serious it was, but it looked like he re-aggravated probably that ankle he was dealing with, wasn't it? I don't know. I haven't heard too much. I've been pretty busy recently. Work has started back up, so I haven't been checking the news as much. But I remember him dealing with something late in the game against the Falcons. So hopefully he will be okay because he was doing good that game. Pepe Williams in the secondary was doing pretty good. He was looking like the Kyle Hamilton of preseason, like blitzing off the edge, getting sacks on the quarterbacks. He had nice preseason week 1 and 2. He got a sack on both Kenny Pickett and the Falcons quarterback. Can't remember his name. Sorry. But then he had a kind of a rough game today. But everybody did. I mean, it was just rough on all sides. But yeah, it's just the pass rush. Speaking of sacking the quarterback, it just doesn't seem like it's there that much. It's really hard to get to these guys. I just don't see many people standing out. I was looking for more from Tavius Robinson. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm missing somebody, but I haven't seen much. I really haven't. Yeah, and those who we were really looking for. We were looking forward to seeing what Isaac was going to do, and Tavius Robinson this preseason. I just haven't seen it. I really haven't. So we've got Owe still. We've got Ojabo. Oh, let me talk about Ojabo. He is a bright spot. He has been a bright spot. I'm sorry. I know I was missing somebody.
I was gonna. If you
I know
didn't,
I was.
if
He's done.
you didn't mention it, I was definitely gonna
He's
say
done
something afterwards. Yeah.
pretty good. Yeah, he has done pretty good. I kept trying to remember that person who was getting some pressure. Him, which is good. And again, we've seen this before. When he plays, he does well. I mean, when he plays in these games, he gets sacks. I mean, he got a sack in week 18. He got a sack in week 1. He got a sack fumble and Stroud last season. I mean, he's not I don't feel like he's a bad player. He just needs to
I don't
get off of the unlucky hinge and just be able to play and showcase what he's got. Because I feel like he could be good. And I know we always say whatever we get from David Ojabo is just cherries on top of the cake. But I feel like this guy can really contribute. I feel like he can be part of the ingredients. He just needs to play. Yeah. And I'm hoping this year he can because he looks good when he plays.
I don't think it's ever been a talent question for Ojabo. It's just a durability question. That's the only question we have for him is can he stay on the field for a good amount of games? And
he's got a nice spin move.
I even saw, again, I couldn't watch the game, but I saw the burst highlight that he had in today's game. I mean, he definitely shows flashes of a great pass rusher who can get to the quarterback. It's just the fact that can he stay on the field for a good amount of the season? Like, if he can play at least 10 to 11 games this year, I will be ecstatic. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But we just haven't gotten a full force of Ojabo Buzz, but we haven't gotten that. It's just we've only gotten the sample. So, I mean, at some point, we're going to have to be okay, Ojabo, what are we going to do? What are we doing here? What are you going to show us? Because I just don't want his – because, I mean, right now, he's just injury prone. And I don't want that label to be on him. But right now, that's the only label you can put on him because he hasn't been on the field. But when he's on the field, he makes plays. Like you said, we've seen it. The strip sack on Burrow. The strip on Stroud. You know what I mean? He can make plays. I think, if we can see, Owe, Ojabo, on both sides with in the middle. I mean, and you can switch out Van Noy on the sides too because we know he's a monster. maybe with a Broderick Washington in the middle with Matabike. You know what I mean? Like, I think our defensive line can get the pressure. My thing is, though, I'm also hoping that we can see more from Odafe Owe. And I'm not saying, like, and I don't want to be hard on Owe. I don't want to come off as an Owe hater. Kind of, I looked like a Josh Johnson hater earlier. But, and by the way, Josh Johnson, I apologize. Gonzi corrected me. It was a half, not a drive. So I'm not going to discredit you. You did great. But
thank you.
But to my point, like, dude, I just want, like, if Odafe Owe can get, like, let's see how many. Actually, while I'm also looking this up, I want to see how many sacks he had last year. Because if we can get, what if Odafe Owe could have like 7 sacks this year? You know what I mean? I think that's a really attainable goal for him. You know what I mean? I think he had like 4 last year, if I'm not mistaken. And it's not like, I don't think he's a bad player either. And I really think like something just needs to be brought out of him, and like so we can see a little something. Because I really think he could be a dominant pass rusher if he's allowed to be. Like, if I can check last year's stats, Odafe Owe had 5 sacks last year, so I was off by 1. So we have 5 sacks last year. What if we can aim for like 7 this year, maybe 8? You know what I mean? Let's get close to kind of like that double figure. Because he's been like 2021 5, 2022 3, 2023 5. You know what I mean? He's kind of staying in that low to moderate range. Like, if we can just see a little more from him, I really think our defensive line is going to be just fine. Like, if we have them both on the edge with Matabike, who's gotten nothing but better as his seasons have progressed. Like, I have faith, in our edge rushers. Like, I mean, shoot, we brought Clowney in off the street, and he almost damn near had 10 sacks. You know what I mean? So, like, I think the door is wide open for somebody to step up and just make an impact. And I think Owe and Ojabo can be those guys. It was Matabike last year who had that breakout season, and great. It was Matabike last year who had that breakout season. Jadeveon Clowney, great season. Kyle Van Noy, great season. I think these two guys can also have that same sort of impact if they are allowed to. They just have to. Oh, there you go. They just have to like be able to unleash that side that we know they have.
Yeah, and and again, none of the starters were playing on the defensive line. No Matabike, no Michael Pierce. And I don't think much. I know Travis Jones has played a little bit this preseason, but I didn't see too much of him. I'm confident that they'll be okay. Pass rush they might be a little bit rusty coming out of the gate, but we've got enough people, I think, to fill that void, and we should be okay on that side. Secondary, pretty rough today. But it's been decent this summer. Especially, we saw Nate Wiggins come out of week 1 just absolutely flying. Then he took that little minor injury to the shoulder, but he looks okay in practice. He's back and he's doing good. Harbaugh said today that, Wiggins is the full package that we expected, and he should be good to go. And they'll be fine week 1, fully healthy secondary. Aside from some of those rookies that are, still on the PUP list or still dealing with injuries, TJ Tampa and a couple others. And Arthur Millette, not forgetting about him. I don't think there was any more injury to the secondary today. I can't remember.
Not that I saw for the injury report.
If there weren't, okay, cool. One thing I do want to talk about, though, safeties. We've had a couple guys step up. Well, mainly one that's caught my eye. Bo Braid out of Maryland has made a couple plays. He's made it a little bit interesting for this Ravens team to decide what they're going to do in the next few days. Because it's just, honestly, it was going to be hard for him to make it from the top, from the start because of who we got. It was a crowded backfield. So it's going to be tough. But shout out to Bo Braid for making plays. He's been pretty good. He had an interception that was called back in week 2, even though I don't think the ball moved. It should have been picked off, but whatever. And then today I did see a highlight on 2nd down. He flew into the backfield and dropped the running back for a loss. It was very nice. It wasn't even like a blitz. That was good. He's got some good ability, and he can be a pretty decent player. He just needs a chance. So I was excited to see him come in. I know there was a lot of, speculation about him coming out of Maryland. People were excited, and good positive energy coming from that. So it was cool to see him pop out this summer. So that was good. So shout out to him. But I think the secondary is set in stone with who we've got. So yeah, and I already talked about Pepe Williams getting those 2 sacks as a pass rusher. So yeah, what do you think about the
Yeah,
secondary?
man, I like
Not
Mowbray
bad.
too. Out of Maryland, your hood,
Yep.
by the way. Yeah, coming
I
out of
said Maryland, right?
yeah. I don't know. I don't think you mentioned it. As you were,
Oh, I thought I
yeah,
said
I don't know
UMD.
if you
Okay,
mentioned it,
never
but
mind.
yeah, out of
Okay.
Maryland, Bo Braid. I hope he makes the 53. I like this guy. He's definitely like an
Mm-hmm.
impact player. He hits. I feel like he hits pretty hard too. You know, I like those big impact dudes. So I think Bo Braid has been really really tough this preseason. Nate Wiggins is everything we thought and more. Him just having him and like fully healthy Marlowe just on the field. I feel like it's going to be fun. When Arthur Millette gets back, we'll have our blitzing DB back, so that'll be fun.
I feel like Pepe can do that for now. That's what I feel we're trying
Yeah,
to have
most
him do
likely.
that.
Yeah, most likely. So we'll see how he can
Mhm.
fulfill that role. I know he can do it.
We
Pepe's no.
also got Ardarius
Yes,
Washington.
yes,
Forgot about him,
yes.
who
I feel
also
like I feel
has
like
some extensive
I feel
time.
like just some of these guys like Ardarius. I just feel like him making the roster would. I feel like it's a no-brainer for him at this point. I mean, he's already proven, time and time again.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Even if he doesn't play a safety, I know sometimes he's been used in the nickel situation sometimes. So, however
Mm-hmm.
he fits, I know he'll be just fine. I'm really interested to see how we utilize like what is going to be our final safety room per se, because obviously, I mean, set in stone already. Marcus Williams, Kyle Hamilton. That's we already know
Eddie
those two.
Jackson.
Eddie Jackson, who I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to be interested to see, because I'm guessing, like, how do we do it? So we have Marcus Williams, Eddie Jackson up top with maybe Kyle Hamilton in the box. I know we're going to shift it. I
Yep.
know depending on how Orr wants to do it. Obviously, this is his defense now, however he wants to play it.
A healthy Marcus
Yes, a
Williams
fully
too.
healthy Marcus
At
Williams
that.
who can use
Mm-hmm.
both arms, this year. So I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
forward to that. Sanusi Kane, I believe he was a 7th round pick.
He did suit
Yes,
up today too. Yep.
6 total tackles for solo. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe he has a chance to make the 53. I don't know. I feel like Bo Braid has kind of earned his shot. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like
I
our safety.
feel like he'll be a
Yeah,
practice squad candidate.
maybe.
I think.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, if it is Bo Braid who takes that spot, though, I mean, again, I'm not mad at it. I think he's earned it. He's played well throughout it. But I like the safeties, and I think our secondary. I think, like you said, we're set in stone with who we have. I think Wiggins.
I think they got to at least try to get him on the practice squad, Bo Braid, because he was special, or he looked pretty cool. He looked special at times. Let me not get crazy about it, but he looked good at
Yeah,
times. He did.
yeah,
He
he
did.
did. I can't argue with that. I think like I said, I think he played very, very, very well. And I think he's earned his spot, no doubt. So I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see the secondary. I just want to see Nate Wiggins in real game action. I know we've had to withhold him because of the injury and stuff like that, but I just want to see what he does with this Chiefs team, week 1, because we're going to get some speedsters. So we're going to need all the help we can get.
Agreed. We do need to get out of here because my phone is about to die. So it's looking bad. We're on the clock now. Last thing I want to say: run defense. Yikes! We were getting gashed up the middle all summer long. And even Nate McCrary, a former Ravens sighting for the Packers today, was just gashing us. I mean, it was not pretty. Falcons were gashing us too. So were the Eagles.
Yeah,
it was just
in
that's something I hope we can
16
sure
for
up
74.
next for the
Yeah,
season.
16 for 74, 11 for 64, 11 for 52, 193 total rushing yards for the Packers today.
For the Packers? Jesus Christ. Wow. Yeah. It's been nasty. I mean, and it's not just today. Like I just said, it was the other games too. It's something that we should be focusing on. But again, I'm not going to press the panic button because it's just preseason and we don't have all of our guys in. We don't have Roquan. We have Matabike. We don't got Owe. We don't got Van Noy in there yet, or Pierce. So we will see how they do that. So I'm not going to be concerned. But yeah, there you have it. That's how we feel about this group of guys. This is these roster groups, these positional groups. That's how you feel. let us know what you think about these guys. Are we wrong? Is Dom wrong? Although even though he apologized
I know.
earlier about saying
The
that.
funny thing is, I know we got to get out of here, but the funny thing is, before we go, I also feel like even more of a douchebag because Josh Johnson, 5 of 7, he had 71 yards for a touchdown, 143 passer rating.
Right. That's
I mean,
that's why I was
listen,
calling you out. You were
on a
like,
consistent level. Like, I'm fine with it.
he was.
Okay,
He
well,
did.
do it again.
He
Do
did.
it again. That's all I'm saying. Do it again.
Do it again.
Do it again.
It's
Do it again.
crazy.
That's all I'm saying.
All right. All right. But yeah. You can't
Johnson
get more
hater.
consistent than 11 for 11 on
Josh
one half.
Johnson hater.
And then come around and throw 5 for 7 for a touchdown. But anyway, that's all good. It's all good. But yeah, so that's how we feel about these positional groups, offense and defense. We feel like it's set in stone. We'll see what the Ravens think, though, because they are the final decision makers, obviously. So it'll be fun. These next few days are big, and for a lot of these players, for some careers potentially as well. The NFL is a brutal business. It's rough. So good luck to those guys, and see what happens with the decisions that will be made this week. So looking forward to that, obviously. Anyway, thank you for tuning in with us. Please comment down below. This was a fun one. We had a lot of arguing. I love it.
Thank you.
Even though Dom admitted he was wrong, so thankfully. What's up, Gorilla? Yep. What was I going to say? Yeah, comment down below. Were we right? Were we wrong? Do you agree? Do you disagree? We had a lot of hot takes, in our opinion, for this week, and it was fun. But yeah, we're sorry we couldn't do some breakdowns for the other 2 games, but that's why we wanted to go live tonight and wrap it all up, since tonight was the final preseason game. Ravens again losing 30-7, finishing with a 1-2 record in the preseason. But nobody really cares about that. We're focused on the real prize here that starts in September. So we will see you guys then very soon. We'll come back here with another show, another episode probably next week after the roster is made to give you our live reactions about how we feel about the 53-man roster. That's great. We got to make how many?
Well, we got like
30-something cuts.
Yeah, we got like
37 cuts.
Guys on the
Yes.
roster right now.
So we will see who makes the practice squad and who gets the boot, unfortunately. So yeah, we're excited. Thanks again for tuning in. Please subscribe also if you enjoyed. And please feel free to reach out to us as well via email if you want. All of that will be commented down below as well. Okay? Thank you guys so much once again. This is domandgonz signing out. It was a rough game today, but we're still here. Go Ravens. We'll see you for the reaction show. And just a few more weeks till September the 5th. Or 7th. It's either 5th or 7th. I can't remember.
Come on, dog.
Yeah. Thursday.
Thursday night.
Thursdays. All right, y'all.